So in today's lesson, we're going to be learning how to find the center of dilation given an figure and its image and also its scale factor. And we're going to learn how to dilate something with a center of dilation that's not at the origin. So to get started, the first thing that we're going to do is draw some rays or draw some lines that go between my 2 points that correspond. So I prime and I'm going to draw a line between those two. So from I to I prime, I will draw a line, and not a line segment, but a line that just keeps going on forever. Next, I'm going to do the same thing, but with H and H prime. So I'll take my straight edge and draw a line right along there. And then next, I'm going to do the same thing, but with G and G prime. Notice that as you draw these lines, when they're going in towards the smaller one, they're going to intersect at some point. That is our, I want to reset it so it refocuses. That is our center of dilation. Come on, camera, let's go. There we go. That is our center of dilation right there. So when part A of question 1 is asking for what is the center of the dilation, I'm going to say it's at point -1, 3, because that's where all of my lines intersect. Next, I need to find the scale factor. Well, to find the scale factor, I just need to find the distance from my center of dilation to my corresponding points and see how I can get from one point to the other, from my figure to my image. So I'll count the distance from my center of dilation first to point G, because that's just the closest one. And I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this distance right over here is a distance of 12, and the distance over here is 1, 2, 3. So the y distance was 3, the x distance was 12. If I find the distance from my center of dilation to my point G prime, which is my image, the y distance over here is 1, and the x distance is 1, 2, 3, 4. The x distance is 4. So I started out here. This is my start, and this is my image. And always, to be able to find your scale factor, you can just write down your start times the scale factor gets you the new. So my original x distance was 12. That's my start. My scale factor, I don't know what it is, so I'll put an x because I don't know what it is. And then my new x distance, it was 12. Now it's 4 is what we counted. So all I need to do is just solve this one-step equation to get my scale factor. If I wanted to, I could have done it in the y, where I had 3x equals 1. Or I could have done it from my center point to h, and then my center point to h prime, or I and I prime. But 1 point will do as long as this is actually a dilation from that to that. So let's solve this. If I've got 12x equals 4, I can divide both sides by 12. That leaves me with 12 divided by 12 gets me 1, so they cancel out. I'm left with x is equal to 4 over 12. If I plug that into a calculator, I can just get the decimal, or I can simplify it. Let's just plug it into a calculator to get the decimal. So 4 over 12. This is not showing up on the screen here. Oh wait, you can sort of see it. That's weird. Anyways, 4 divided by 12 gets me 0.3 repeating. If I had solved this one up here, I can divide both sides by 3. I'm left with x is equal to 1/3. If I plug that into my calculator, that's also equal to 0.3 repeating. So I can write this as x is equal to x, which is my scale factor, is equal to 0.3 repeating, or 1/3, or alternatively 4 over 12. Those are all good scale factors for this right here. Notice that my scale factor is between 0 and 1, which makes sense because I started with a bigger figure and it shrunk down to a smaller image. Next, we're just doing the opposite. I'm starting out with a figure, a center of dilation, and a scale factor, and I want to find the new one. So I'm just going to do the opposite. I'm going to say, okay, P is my center of dilation, so I'll start there. I have a scale factor of 2, so let's count the distance from P to C. So P to C is 1, 2, 3 in the X, and it's nowhere else in the Y. So P to C prime, scale factor of 2 is just going to be 3 times my scale factor gets me my new distance. So the new distance is going to be 6. So I'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be my C prime. Next, I'm going to do the same thing for A. A is 1, 2 points above it in the Y, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4 points away in the X distance. So I'm just going to multiply each of these distances by my scale factor to find how far it's going to be away from point P after the dilation. So 2 times 2 is going to be, the Y distance is going to be 4. 4 times 2, the X distance is going to be 8. And so now then I'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the new Y coordinate for my A. And I'm going to count 8 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This should be where A prime is. And then finally, I'm going to do the same thing for B. I want to get this to refocus on the page. There we go. Finally, I'm going to do this same exact thing for point B. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. It's 3 above this distance, and it's 2 to the side. So my distance in the Y is 3, my distance in the X is 2. So now I'm just going to count, well, this times my scale factor, and the 3 times my scale factor. So it's going to now be 6 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be my B prime. If I want to, I can draw out the whole figure to get A prime, B prime, C prime. And if I really want to, I could even go backwards and draw these rays to show, hey look, where they intersect is actually my point of dilation. Boom. 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 You don't need to do that last part, but just to illustrate that, hey, doing this is just the opposite of doing that, or doing that is just the opposite of doing that. So take a moment, try to answer these next 2 ones below on your worksheet. I hope that was understandable for you.